Heaven on earth is now here. We have all entered into a singular silver thread new earth timeline. Now we get to create our future for ourselves. But first we have to remember how to orientate ourselves and how to navigate when we arrive on new territory. My name is Davyd Farrell.
I'm Bella Alvaran. Welcome to QuantumPlanet.world, and we're super excited to present the next part of the journey.
Right, so we've called this video Heaven on Earth, and actually that's what we're working towards right now. But is it just a fancy spiritual catchphrase? Is it something maybe you heard at church? Or is it actually something that has some meaning? We've been exploring many different energetic impulses and blueprints and templates here on QPW for a while by accessing our cosmic selves. We can say even our future cosmic human selves. But as we've been learning in our tribe, time is an illusion, particularly here on planet Earth. Maybe even the reality we have been living in is something of an illusion, a very, very important one. But what is the point of all of it? What are we doing here right now? And how are we going to bring heaven down to earth?
So this is a part of the journey where we activate our cosmic human selves. There's going to be a part 2, which is activating our cosmic Jedi self. But first, we need to work with our inner elementals. We need to activate that ability to navigate we've been doing for quite a few months now with the navigation guide.
Right, so basically as spiritual teachers, as guides, even as time-traveling beings, our job here on planet Earth has been to assist our brothers and sisters, all of you who watch these videos, those of you who've been in our communities, both on Quantum Planet Healing and now on Quantum Planet World, to start thinking about our multidimensional natures, but not actually just thinking about them, actually activating them. We were shown a long time ago that working with plant intelligence, working with plant medicine, both of the field, forest and hedgerow variety, but also with the sacred entheogen variety, allows us to access different parts of our conscious awareness. And in doing so, we actually are activating different strands of our own inner DNA, which is super cool.
So this is how we're going to be getting our bodies ready for the next part of the journey. And you can be part of it because it's going to have a live or interactive part of it.
Okay, so what we're talking about here is basically the next part of the journey that we're going to be taking all of you who wish to join us on. But there is a much deeper point to this. Every single thing that we've been guided to put out over the last few years has a spiritual aspect to it that is part of a series of stepping stones. Yeah. The plants were the first part. They were the bridge, opening us up, working with incredibly powerful plants like Dandelion, the master geneticist, time-traveling, solar-infused being of a high intelligence, as actually guided to us by our friend, the Ascended Master Zach. Of course, he's channeled by our friend Janet. He's deeply connected to Dandelion and the plants, and is also really a mentor from the 26th dimension. So some of us have been calling for, inviting in, and accessing all kinds of multidimensional information from different parts of the cosmos, which somehow seems, Bella, like it's out there, but actually really the truth is it's in here. The journey is one that takes us into ourselves. It's one that allows us to actually connect physically, fully with every part of our own inner technology. So this is really, really important, and this is where we're starting this journey, which is almost like looping back to the beginning. By working with our inner elemental forces, we are going to be working really with our dragon DNA. Because the dragons are really we can say the terraforming beings that go way back, supposedly into our past, but really are just what we might call our primordial selves, so that we can understand how we have air, fire, water, earth, and ether already in us. And once we start to connect to that, we're actually connecting to the building blocks of the reality sim that we've been experiencing, all of which is going to show us and allow us to become future creators, so that we can actually start to think about how to create a new earth that is not a simulation, but is a reality, bringing heaven, 5, 6, 7, 8 and beyond dimensional information down here into the third dimension. That is what this whole experiment has been about.
So what we're going to be doing is recalibrating our inner elementals with those of the earth and the new blueprint for new earth. So the original blueprint for new earth is of a much higher vibration. That's what we need to get our bodies ready for that process. And what the elementals are going to help us do, and the plants, is do that transition so that we can bring our higher version of ourselves, our higher selves, or cosmic selves into this body, because this ascension process is in 3D as well.
That's the exciting part that maybe many of you have heard talk about from other channels, spiritual people over maybe the last 40, 50 years, is, that basically the idea of ascension is really something that happens when we cross the veil, and this can happen when we go to sleep, this can happen when we die. However, what we are trying to all do, and this is what we all collectively signed up for, is to see if we can do the ascension process consciously awake in our third dimensional suits. And in doing so, what we do, or have done already, and it's now starting to manifest into all of our realities, is to create a singularity, hence the singular silver thread to the new Earth timeline, which we've all been on really since the April 8th eclipse. And with many of the recent shifts in energy, with a lot of the solar activity, this has activated some of us, well, all of us really, but perhaps more consciously for some of us, into understanding the journey inwards is really the journey into our own DNA. And what is our DNA comprised of? It's comprised of our extraterrestrial selves, which includes many different steps of our own evolutionary journey, which actually also includes working with our elemental dragon selves.
I don't like to call them extraterrestrial selves. It's our cosmic selves.
Right.
Because we are in all of the dimensions and we are experiencing everything at once. Because the way time works is not linear time. It's everything at once here. But where you put the focus and your consciousness is where things manifest. And this is more of the practices that we're going to be doing, how to use our compasses, now that we've landed into New Earth after the previous process of the navigation guide of 13 steps. Now we landed, now we look at the territory, now we look at the land, the new environment, and we start bringing the vibration of what we need to recalibrate ourselves using the astrology, using the Mayan containers, using everything that we've learned, everything that the plants have taught us. Then we move forward into being cosmic humans on New Earth.
So yes, Bella's right, extraterrestrial selves, cosmic selves, it's really the same thing, and perhaps that's something we're all going to be learning about in the future, is using new types of, we can say, vocabulary, new types of words, understandings, so that we can really access those parts of ourselves that maybe we have forgotten about on the journey into the density of the 3D. But in order to really make the most of the light codes that are streaming onto the planet, to make the most of the solar activity that's been assisting us, we have to make sure that we're not carrying any of the PTSD traumas from the old timelines of pain, suffering and slavery that we've had before. All of which was really just part of the illusory experience of being here in this reality in order to prepare us to become our future cosmic Jedi selves. This is the future that we're stepping into, but because there is no future and no past, there is only the present, it's already all happened. What's happening now, though, is that we're getting to experience it consciously in 3D. We can understand these things from a multidimensional, non-physical form, but now we're actually going to live through this process, which really is mind-blowing when you sit and think about it, but that is the journey of New Earth, and that's what the spiritual guides haven't really been able to share with us up until now. First of all, because we wouldn't understand it. Secondly, because we had to experience it, but also not to ruin the surprise, because this is a time of creativity where we get to learn about ourselves at a deep fundamental level, but also how we get to be creators of a new reality, one that speaks to us of the higher notes of all of our different off-planet DNA, whether it's from our Sirian ancestors, our Pleiadian ancestors, our Nibiran ancestors, our Andromedan ancestors. We are made up of quite a lot of different strands of DNA, all of which is mapped through our cosmology, which is then mirrored into our 3D astrology, which allows us to navigate both Earth, the astral planes, and the multidimensional spaces.
Right, and we had our big downloads last night that tied everything up together, gave us lots of insights and understanding about everything that we've done up to this point. And even before we met, we've always been on training to get to this point, evolutionary step, where we all jump and start building together. So it was really exciting to see that it has been, many of us came as volunteers to work with Mother Earth. That was the main goal. And once we came to work with the Mother Nature and that aspect of the goddess, we've understood that we've had so much training to get to this situation right now where we are ready to bring heaven on earth with her. which is bringing the goddess back into the new earth as well.
Right, and this is actually something that Bella is much more familiar with than myself, but maybe some of you are aware of the Kogis, our brothers and sisters who live way up in the Sierra Nevada mountains and who refer to us as little brother. Mm-hmm. And, having watched many of the very interesting movies and documentaries about these beautiful, wonderful people, what they were trying to show us is that there is a natural cycle to the earth experience through Mother Nature. And by understanding that, we get to understand the intricacies of the interconnected web of life. But because of the matrix and the old programming and everything that we had to go through in order to understand ourselves, which is the point we've now come to, we also have to observe the natural cycles of everything, the fractal nature of the universe. And this is the perfect place for that training, which is really what I think those Kogis wanted to show us, right, Bella?
Yeah, I actually was lucky enough to spend a couple of weeks a few years ago up in the Sierra Nevada of Colombia with the Kogis and the Aruacos and the Mamos, who are the shamans of the groups. And their deep connection is not only the Mamos who are directly connected to the land, everybody is. And everybody is in a constant meditation and connection to Mother Earth, to the point that they even ask Mother Earth if any foreigners are allowed to come into there. And there is a way of offering to the land on a constant basis. There is always that interaction of paying for everything that you're doing energetically.
Right, so in order to understand the natural cycle really and truly, we first of all have to get orientated both to the land that we're on, how that connects to the stars above, how that relates to us internally, but also externally. And the next part of the process is then to understand that this earthly plane with Mother Earth and the energy of the goddess and the plants is something that goes on a cycle which is made up of the elements, the air, fire, water, earth and ether, all of which we have contained within us. In fact, we pretty much have everything contained within us. We're also made up of lots of minerals and nutrients. All of these are their own conscious intelligences, which we actually have contained within this beautiful piece of technology that we call this human body. But we are now only starting to really begin to understand that these intelligences, whether they're plants, whether they're metals, whether they're minerals, crystals, all of them have their own intelligence, which we have hardwired into us. We are actually the most sophisticated kit and caboodle we can honestly even begin to imagine, because we have all of these elements of all of these other beings that make up Mother Earth. But in order to get to the place of this bigger understanding of connecting into our cosmic future selves, we sort of need to go back to the beginning and begin with the primordial energies, which are the dragon beings, which are actually another way of saying the elemental beings.
Right. So what we're going to do with this process is reconnect to the elementals of the earth and our inner elementals, because we need to recalibrate so we're all on the same frequency. Mother Earth has already jumped, but now we need to catch up with her. And in order to do that, we need to get our bodies ready and our consciousness ready for that jump and upgrade.
So really and truly, all of us who are here in the planet Earth experiment, those of us who are still here, and we're starting to have perceptions that many of our sort of future selves already jumped out, maybe in other timelines, maybe a couple of hundred years ago. But some of us are still here. We're wanting to get everybody over the line, even maybe the people that we called the bad guys, the mafia, etc., the energetic, hostile beings, because we also had to come and help them assist in their redemption process. We all go together, nobody gets left behind. And so many of us, probably many of you watching these videos, even with us, have been sent back as messengers, we can say, as teachers, as guides, with our own spiritual guides, of course, in the assistance of beings like Zach and the plants to assist us. We've all been working together as a team to get us to this point. And what we can say now with the videos we've been sharing is that the astral planes have been cleared. The fallen beings who had been, we can say, the mafia bosses of the past, they also had to go through a redemption process, which has happened because those of us with conscious awareness, which is many of you on the planet here, have given forgiveness and understanding how there are no bad guys. This was all part of a journey to allow each and every one of us as an aspect of creator to come to the place of realizing that we too are creators, which is really what our future cosmic human selves will become in the universe. However, we're getting ahead of ourselves. No need to jump to that part of the story, because we've got this really exciting part of the journey, which is the conscious awareness of the beginning of the future beings that we are going to become. Sounds far out. It is. Multidimensional consciousness is something that we've forgotten about, but is innate within us. And how do we access that? We access it through really rewiring our inner selves, looking at our inner elements, looking at even the metals and minerals. This is something we'll be looking at in the future, but really to make sure that we have our air, fire, water, earth and ether nailed down. And each one of those, as many of you will know, has different correspondences, both into the zodiac, the different elemental signs of the zodiac, through the different directions and through different medicine wheels. And that's where we're going to begin this journey, is by looking at the inner dials and compasses that we all have and learning to adjust them through the different medicine wheels that our ancestors, whether they're Celtic, First Nations, South American, Aboriginal, African, there's so many different versions of medicine wheels, and each one has been carefully calibrated to the point of Earth where they work. So how do we learn to navigate through this? Well, we sort of have to become quantum navigators, which is why so much of what we put out has this kind of seafaring, voyaging aspect to it, because at the end of the day, we are cosmic voyagers, and one of the voyages that we all made was here to this part of the universe to go through this experience.
And we'd love to hear more about those of you that have been in the background doing a lot of this training with us, but we haven't heard from. We've gotten some beautiful emails of people telling us, hey, I did the immersions, I did my healing, I've done the Rainbow Bridge, I've done this, I've done that, and now they are ready to jump into the next part. So that is super exciting for us to see that many people were in the background but still following the path. So just to remind you here that from the time we put together QPH, which was Quantum Plant Healing, we did a whole process of immersions and healing and ended with a big Rainbow Bridge journey, which prepared us for the jump. Once we did the jump, we came with learning about Mayan time and magic, about the nature of time, about our multidimensional selves, and the chapters of the navigation guide, so that we could land now here on New Earth. New Earth is here, but we need to get our bodies ready to start building all together as a big community of more cosmic humans, of awakened beings.
Right, so everything that we've released really or shared through this platform on QPW has been guided by our guides, and all we really had to do is be channels and try and bring the information through. And whether it's the Mayan time and magic showing us the nature of time, whether it's a navigation guide which we put together and have finished, which you can all access, this really is the 13 steps of the ascension process to heaven, to our multidimensional selves. And in doing so, our DNA gets activated, we get rewired, and even our hollow mind perceivers get switched on. And when our hollow mind perceivers get switched on, that allows us connection to actually pretty much anywhere in the universe that we can put our attention to. Now that might sound far out, but how else do you think we get to experience other parts of the universe before we're able to travel to them? We have to be able to travel to them in our conscious awareness. This is what it is to be a time traveler, being who understands that really wherever our attention is, that is where our consciousness is. Right now, we're so ensconced in this reality that we think this is all there is, but through the process of meditation, of breath work, and particularly working with plants, we're able to journey to those places. So this 6-module introduction, really, the Heaven on Earth process, is also a way of saying that we're going to teach how to activate our cosmic human selves. And we are going to be working with plants again. We're going to be working with Dandelion, who's a master air elementalist, Nettle, a master fire elementalist, Lady's Mantle, a master water elementalist, the Elder Mother, a master earth elementalist, and then also Lady Tulsi, Sacred Basil, who really is a goddess energy working at the ether level. And that is also one of the big energies that we're going to be pulling in, is the energy of the goddess, the etheric, we can say creative space that really constitutes a lot of the higher 4D astrals and the 5th dimensional space, which is what is going to allow us to create heaven on earth, because it's all held here as blueprints in our awareness.
Yeah, so they are helping us in this first part of the process to get our bodies ready, to anchor ourselves into this new template, and to be able to receive the 5D consciousness, which is coming in part 2 with the help of very exciting plants like hemp and many others.
So that's coming in early January of 2025. However, in the laying out of these 6 modules, we are going to be introducing some special workshops, which we are calling flying schools, which is an introduction on how to work with the consciousness shifting plants, such as cannabis, or Santa Maria as we like to call her, the sacred fungi, and in fact many other plants which we'll be introducing. Each one is a doorway or a portal into other realms, other dimensions, other aspects of our own consciousness. So it doesn't really matter whether you work with those plants already or not. If you do, then great. We're going to be giving some extra instructions on how to incorporate these teachings into those kinds of plant journeys. And if you don't, or it's not your thing, we're going to be teaching a little bit more about how these medicines are going to become actually ubiquitous part of the healthcare system of the future, because that is what these medicines are here for. However, when we work with these medicines, and indeed we're going to be working with super powerful plants, dandelion, nettle, lady's mantle, elder and tulsi, these are really, really powerful multidimensional plants in and of themselves. And when we go inwards with them, and we start to connect to the inner elements, but also the qualities of the directions, east, south, west, north, in, up and down. This is how we create sacred space, the 7 directions. And when we are able to create a sacred space within ourselves by opening the 7 directions within ourselves, by calling in all of these different aspects, all of which we're going to be teaching during this particular course in Journey, you start to understand how we are sacred space always, at any place that we put our attention, not just here in 3D, but in any of the other realms too. So we hope you can join us as we approach the moment of the singularity, where our past and future selves converge into the present moment, into the 3D timeline.
Yeah. If you're ready to activate your cosmic human self and be part of the building of New Earth, we invite you to join us in this beautiful journey that is the next path.
In Lakesh, I am another you.
Thank you. Bye.